So the Cowboys, the opposite of rolling. Big picture, you see the final score, and so many narratives and perceptions are crafted by the final score of a game. 34-10 feels like a blowout. Watching the game, it feels like the Texans were constantly on the verge of delivering a knockout punch, and they never quite could, and then all of a sudden, they'd knocked out the Cowboys, and it was almost like, when did that happen? It just felt sluggish for Houston. It was their third straight primetime game. They'd lost the first two, blew a lead against the Jets, blew a big lead at halftime against the Detroit Lions, and it felt like they were trying to find a way to blow their lead last night. And eventually, the Cowboys made it easier for the Texans to build their lead. The key moment that ended the game was that incredible trifecta from Derek Barnett. The sack, the strip, the lineman picks up the ball and decides he's going to be Jim Brown. He's not Jim Brown. The ball goes out, and Barnett's the one who picks it up and takes it in for the touchdown. That was the moment the game was over. And, oh, look at that. The clouds part. The sun shines. The highlight rolls. Avert your eyes, Cowboys fans. Texans fans, enjoy that one.
It was such an interesting turn of events, especially because you mentioned it briefly before, but the Cowboys were down 20-10. They have a chance to kick a field goal. They don't kick the field goal, or first they kick the field goal, the penalty, they move up, then they don't kick the field goal. And I'm sitting there and I say to my wife, not that she cared at all, but I was like, it's a 2-score game. You're down 10 points anyway. Just kick the field goal since you're here. But it seems like the Cowboys, they don't get hurt by it. The Texans get the ball, the Cowboys get the ball right back, and then you see this play, and right then and there, it was like, well, game is over. But I have to say, I love the way Jalen Petrie plays the game at safety/nickel, because you're right, Guyton picks up the ball, and we've seen some of these funnier moments where linemen, kind of throw it back to their youth football days when they were able to play fullback or something. Guyton takes 3 steps, and Petrie just runs at him full speed and hits him. And not only does he lose the ball, Guyton gets hurt and leaves the game because he scoops the ball and gets hit by Petrie. I think he got a shoulder injury or something and had to exit the game. So just to me, a play by Houston that got them going and finished the game. But I remember during the game, at some point, my brother texted me and was like, are the Texans just not that good? Because right now they are struggling with the Cowboys. And for the most part, teams have gone into Dallas and gone into that stadium and wiped the Dallas Cowboys off the floor playing against them. And Houston started the game exactly how you would want to start the game. You go, you score Nico Collins, 77-yard touchdown, gets called back, and you say, you know what? A few plays later, we're going to let Joe Mixon score on a 45-yard touchdown. Drive down again, don't kick a field goal, but it doesn't matter. You still score a second touchdown. And I'm like, well, here we go again. Cowboys are going to get rolled on. And to their credit, they made a little run at it, just couldn't complete it.
Well, it's funny because Troy Aikman, I think it was him and not Joe Buck, making the comment that the Cowboys need to be careful or they're going to get blown off the field. And that was when the Cavante Turpin play happened that made it 14-7. And that's just one of those points where you're like, okay, we have something now, because that's one of the things about scoring in football. If it was baseball, it would have been 2-0. 2-0 is not that big of a deal. You have to think of it as that. And that's to your point from earlier, and I have a feeling we're going to be on the same page about this. You think of it in terms of scores. How many scores behind are we? That was the issue on Thursday night when everyone at Lincoln Financial Field seemed to believe the game was over. Everyone associated with the game, the presentation of it, the broadcast of it, it's over. It's not over. 26-10 is a 2-score game. It's not over. The Commanders have the ball with 4:53. It's not over. Why are you saying it's over? Why is everybody acting like it's over? And then finally, when the Commanders score, it's like, maybe this isn't over. And there's only 30 seconds left. So the number of scores that you're behind is what is, I think, so important. And I think that's the starting point for any strategic discussion. Analytics became the buzzword. All it is strategy. It's basic strategy. It's Bill Belichick shit. Bill Belichick's been doing analytics since the moment he first coached. It's, what do I need to win the game? And before we get there, the Guyton play, and Mike McCarthy said after the game that we don't teach our linemen to run with the football, and it shows. Just get on it, especially where an offensive player. But how many times we see a defensive guy who's got a shot to pick up a ball, and he's so intent on getting that moment of glory that he doesn't secure the ball, and then the offense gets the ball back. So many more mistakes happen when the chaos erupts. And Kalen Saunders, who we saw 6 weeks ago, that Monday night game between the Saints and the Chiefs, he intercepts the ball, and you can tell this guy's played running back in his past. And I think that's the way it should be assessed by coaches. Okay, everybody out there on the line of scrimmage, either side, if you see the ball, fall on it. Unless you can prove to me, I want to see the paperwork, I want to see the resume, I want to see the film from high school that you can actually run the ball. And Saunders showed that he could, Guyton showed that he couldn't. And it's that simple. If you have no experience running a football, the time to start is not during a professional football game.
And I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but as we watch the games this weekend, one of the things teams need to go and work on, recovering a fumble. We watch guys over and over again every week. The ball's on the floor. They dive out, and we're like, oh, this team has the ball. There's 3 guys who are diving out to the football. And all 3 guys either jump and the ball lands and they land with the ball on their belly and it pops out, or their hands hit it and they don't recover it. When I was in New England, it was a funny joke, but the rookies would have to go while one of the veterans, Brady or Vince Wilfork, they're hosing down the ball, they're hosing down the area, the grass, making it like a slip and slide. But you had to run full speed, a wet ball, everything, and recover the ball. And we're all laughing and joking, diving, missing the ball. And Bill stops it and goes, what the F are you guys doing? The goal is to fall on the ball. And then in training camp, we would have random days where he would get everybody on the sideline, the whole team. You roll the ball out, and guys would have to run and dive on the ball. And then it's fun, it's games, and then the coaches start hitting you with coaching points, how to jump on the ball. If we weren't recovering, he would stop the drill, bring one guy over, have him jump on the ball, demonstrate how you jump on it, how you secure it on the ground. And I just think that's a thing that it doesn't take long, once or twice, but we've watched so many guys. So when you see Guyton get the ball, for one, we got to give him credit for just recovering it. But you got to know, as I've always heard coaches say, hey, Guyton, know when the journey is over. Soon as you look up and you turn the corner and you see Petrie coming at you, secure the ball and go down. If there's a bunch of green grass, run a little bit. But once there's someone there, just go down. You don't know how to secure the ball. Go down, because who knew that was going to be the play to finish the Dallas Cowboys? And that's the thing, as we're about to dive into it now, of being a 2-score game, points, all of the way it motivates your team. I even thought Houston early in the game, when they were down there up 7-zip and the chance to go up 10-zip, they're controlling the game and they go for it on 4th down. I'm like, why? When you go for it on 4th down and you get stopped, it gives the other team so much momentum. It gets them going a little bit. Their offense takes the field a little differently. It's the same way of a turnover. And every time you get a turnover, if your team turns the ball over and you take the field on defense, everybody's yelling, sudden change, alert the shot, because you know the other team's going to now take the field. Momentum, you get the turnover. They're thinking, okay, play action. Let's draw up our best play, a trick play, a play action pass, something like that. So it just kills me every time they always say analytics, and the team doesn't just take points. Just take the points that are right there and continue the flow of the game, especially when you're up and ahead. And then when you're behind, to give your team a little juice, get some points on the board so you're thinking, hey, we're closer than we think. We can still win this game. But when you don't, and then you don't get it, I just think it brings your team so much down morale-wise, and it doesn't allow you to kind of feed off of the energy in the game. It just makes it another kind of depressing downer moment for your team.
And never push down the urge to delve into something like what you just explained. It's not a tangent. It's a facet of this show when you're on it that allows people to better understand the game. They're not getting this anywhere else as far as I know. I really don't watch anything else because I get enough of listening to myself for 2 hours in the morning. But that's something that isn't going to be discussed, I would bet, anywhere today, unless your brother's on ESPN today and they give him a chance to delve into it instead of saying, wait, you got to wrap, you got to go to this, we got to go to this, we got to go to this, and it doesn't flow out naturally because the coaching points from Belichick are the key, and that's how professional football teams should be coached. Securing possession of a loose ball is a key part of the game because it happens all the time. And it's often obvious that the men who are charged with securing possession have no idea what to do. There's no strategy. There's no plan. It's just, there's a hot potato, but wait a minute, a hot potato is good in this context. Let's go get the ball. And then when Guyton gets it, it was obvious from the moment he got it. He has no business trying to advance it. He didn't, and that's fine. We all have our skills. We all have the things we can do and what we can't do. And on a football field, there are defined skills that everyone has. Offensive lineman, unless you play running back or receiver or tight end or quarterback in high school, when you get that ball in your hands, get your ass on the ground. And that, it's great to get that insight of how Belichick would be, because there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many reps you can take during practice. To carve out time and prioritize loose ball, go get it. Here's how you get it. Here's what you need to do differently. No, do this, don't do that, do this. And it all gets in your brain, and it, in theory, hopefully comes out when you're in the heat of the battle.
And that's the key. Like, practice execution makes game reality. Every coach in America says that. But you don't realize that as a player until things happen and instinctually you do things because either you practice it or you didn't practice it and you think this is the best thing to do because you've watched it on TV or you've always dreamed of this moment as an offensive lineman to scoop the ball up and run. And we've always seen all of the bad moments. Yes, there's some historic plays. I was on kickoff return 2010 with Dan Conley against the Green Bay Packers. I believe that was Sunday Night Football. And he has this huge kickoff return. He's holding the ball the wrong way. Like, everything's wrong about it, but no one tackles him. And somehow he gets like a 60 or 70-yard return. And I think people see those plays and they're like, why would you tell a lineman not to run? Look what he was able to do. But that's the rare occasion. Saunders from New Orleans, rare occasion. Most of these guys, they haven't ever had the ball in their hand. For one, their hands are all taped up. They can't move their thumbs. It's just a bad, bad situation waiting to happen. But unless you address that, you can't really get mad at the players because the coach has to say that. The coach has to go and say, hey, we don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. Because if not, if I'm a player, I'm thinking it's prime time, Monday Night Football. I'm going to score a touchdown. Unfortunately for Guyton, it didn't work out that way.
I'm watching the Connolly play, and he knew what he was doing. As soon as he got the ball, he did the old Larry Zonka double hand secure him across the middle of his chest. Then once he broke to the left, he tucked it to the left, not the right. Because when you're going left, you tuck it left because if somebody hits it, it goes out of bounds. If it's right, somebody hits it, it stays in bounds. And then unless Gary Guyton's around, you're going to gain possession. So, Guyton, anyway, that hopefully we could pop that up. I found it and I sent it to the control room. On a normal day, they probably would have it up by now, but today, look, they're going all over the place. They went back to, they say, that's the message for me to shut up. They went straight to you. Don't quit talking about it. We can't get the video up. But anyway, you can see this guy knows how to carry a ball. Now, it's really, I'm watching it again. It's really not in the way a football normally is. It's 90 degrees on it, but that's what makes it a great play when it happens. And I think, for football fans, it's so different when it happens. We become fascinated by it, and we don't care about the outcome. We just want to see it. We don't see this very often. Let's see it. I think that's why there's this compulsion to go for two from fans. Near the end of a game, teams down one, go for two. Oh, well, it doesn't matter to us if you don't make it. We just want to be excited by the moment. So it is an exciting moment from a fan perspective, but it can be something that causes you to pull your hair out if you're a coach. So anyway, we went down that rabbit hole, but we needed to because I think the message for anyone out there, coaches, players, owners who like to ask tough questions, and as Bill Belichick made it clear last week, the owners get the agenda for their questions from media. You need to be sure that your coaches are properly teaching their players what to do when that ball is free and what not to do, more importantly, when they get the ball in their hands.
Exactly, and that's the interesting thing, because now as we're saying this, I'm wondering, like, all right, how many coaches on Wednesday are going to say, or Thursday are going to say, you know what? Let's do a ball recovery drill. All right, maybe on Thursday, let's address this play as a team, because that's what we would do in New England. A play like that would happen. We would come in maybe on Friday or Saturday at the end of the week. Bill would have this cut up of all of the plays that happen that don't normally happen, but happen in a game and created a big play. It could be in college or the NFL. And he would say, hey, I know a lot of us are locked in on what we're doing here, families, the game. We might not have seen it. Let's watch this as a team and address how we would handle this, because this, he would circle it on the screen over and over again. This isn't what we want to do. This is not good winning football. So that to me is one of those small things that you have to do as a team, because when those moments come up, they can either be the reason you lose a game or win a game. But if you take care of it, it allows you to know what your players are going to do, and it sets us a level of expectation of, hey, we addressed this. We told you what to do. You blew it because we coached it. Now it's up to you to execute it.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.